Hey, what is happening? It is Iron Hay. In the old games corner, classic game roulette, and it is time to continue Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. And well, hopefully I'm feeling better than yesterday. I'm still feeling a little down, but better than before at least. Huh? Hey, was my mic even on? Uh-oh. Anyway, it's the old games corner, classic game roulette. And today I'm playing Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, or we finish this. Or at least hopefully. I don't know if I'm feeling 100% right now, but I'll try my hardest. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call him back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy. We're leaving. Darian, wait! I never liked you. Either of you. Huh? Darn it! We were so close! Who was about to tell us? Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Machi had to say. And I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Eek! What was that? He's heard but unseen. Who's that talking? Finland Grammary. Using the door like an average muggle, no less. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Villain? Ha 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 ha. A preposterous proposition. How could I stand to stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Oh, with vanishing magic? Indeed. I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A grand glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. A glamour? Okay, get right to it, Buster. A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Most truly, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell. And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up on the Eiffel Tower. Anything, really. So, he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Lamore's disappearing act. And Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first. It was by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business. Great. I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son. Oh, that's right. Remember yesterday morning? The judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it yourself. Oh dear. Enchiritis? Where have I heard that before? I'll let you read that article for us. I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. There we go. Just leave the TV guide and page to me. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. Ahem. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say this name again? Machi Tobii, a suspect, fortissimo. Alright, it's his trial in any case. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to look. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No, well, yes. It's just I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see how going through such a difficult time. Incurious, was it? That article said there is no known cure. Judge, let me say with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears, nor is the time for law. Indeed. We left at quite the juncture yesterday. I asked the Interpol about that number. IPXX314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescend. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Wait! That voice just now. It was him, I am sure of it. It was him? The voice I heard talking to Mr. Latouche when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darien. No way. Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Darien would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Darien Crescent is a member of my band, the Galvaniers. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Air Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let us review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of this shooting was in 3 sets. The Cavaliers ripped up in the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lamore on Machi, along with a drummer on bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the third set. Lamore on the defendant, Machi Tobii, had left in the stage at that point. On the Governors were already rocking. This is when 2 shots ring it out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Sky, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lamore herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime, when she claims to have heard Mr. Latou's on Detective Christian talking. But that's impossible. Detective Christian was... Precisely. Detective Christian was on stage getting his groove on, no less. Voila! An imperfect alibi!
Does the defense have anything to add to this?
It's true. When I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something in here that doesn't quite add up.
It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darian Kursen's alibi has been acknowledged.
Which means that Lamore was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true.
Very well. Of course, if we can disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections...
Oh, Apollo, if he declares the verdict now... But Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lamore might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait, what about yesterday in the detention center? About the case? What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latou's death? This meeting's over. Darian, Machi was trying to tell us something. I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him under oath.
Very well. The court finds the defendant, or what was his name again?
Your Honor.
No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or Mr. Justice.
Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who until now has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean? I do. The defense calls defendant Machi Tobiai to the stand.
What? But he doesn't speak English.
We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak on few phrases such as I love you and where is the toilet. The defense would like to request Lamore as the interpreter.
Lamore? But there's a possibility and she's protecting the defendant.
But she's to be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie?
This is most unusual.
Bravo, Airforehead. Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. Although more lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that.
Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal.
Finally, some progress.
Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamore to the defense stand.
I suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lamar. Yes. He says Machi, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really need an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good.
Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would.
Huh? If I would what, Your Honor?
Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about?
What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet.
Apollo,
are you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lamore? Just now, Machi said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something. What could it be?
What sort of testimony is he talking about?
One moment, please. The suspense is killing me.
What?
What?
Well, Lamore,
according to Machi, he has proof of his innocence.
What?
This is I'm surprised. Yahoo! Victory! Apollo, we did it! This is sounding too good to believe. And I know what that usually means.
Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Machi, please testify to the court.
Very well. He says that word of Mr. Latus's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, that is, he could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them.
I see. He would have understood the English lyrics to the song. I would prevent him from following them so closely.
I wondered what he meant by proof. Well, you would only have to ask Lamore to know the meaning of that song. Lamore, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about. but never in so much detail, and he never asked. Has my oath-repeating warning already fled that forehead? Lamar might be protecting the witness.
Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would.
Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Oh. Let me run that again. Uh-oh. Machi. You can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lamar said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned a name for this language. That is all. What? Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but yo no comprende. I am sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well then, explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Virginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right! What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they're quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying! Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. I have here a Virginian newspaper. The Virginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Virginian newspaper. Windings. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. Ah, I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place who could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain herself or himself. Machi says. He says. Yes? It is true I read the newspaper. But this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lamore? Yes. I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Then it looks like our forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. It seems so. It seems so, yes. No. I was onto something, I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today. Mr. Justice, are you finished with the cross-examination? What are you going to do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else! My bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, Please allow me to continue.
If you must, you must. Very well, witness.
I understand. Oh, yeah, there we go. It is I who explained it. Lamore, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swore the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lamore, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lamore, you're protecting... Lamore, you are protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it, really. I trust you. But you've lied to us twice, and now you have Lamore lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Ugh!
Witness, is this true? Do you understand English?
Yes, a little, only.
What?
First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lamore? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise.
How many secrets is this witness hiding?
Last. This is last.
Machi, could you tell us what really happened?
No shooting. I did no shooting.
So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct?
Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk, monitor here on floor.
Which would it be after the shooting, right?
Then there is voice.
Voice or voices?
Was it you in Emma, Apollo?
So, when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door.
Panel high up. I take off. Run away, run away.
So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has held along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession?
No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Monitor on floor. Already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you see? I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of this crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter!
Does the defendant has anything to say to this?
He's clammed up, Apollo.
Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness?
Is that it? There's nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait. No, of course there is. What is this cocoon anyway? The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. A cure? Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. The cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please tell us the truth for your own sake. No more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust there, forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse.
It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed.
Apollo Eustace. That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. Believe, I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and we walked right into it. Suddenly, I hear revolver. Close, very close. Then I hear voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true. I hear revolver but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead and then you heard shots? If that's true... So you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots? And you escaped through the air vent. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know that if I opening vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage area and the backstage area. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Huh? Yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect and then designed the hall or something. I hear this from Magician. Magician? Don't look at me! A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots. That's going to go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Danny always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard him. Every time. So what do? You're sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking. No. Well, it was worth a shot. The cocoon. I can't go home. Can't go home? Can't go home? I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Virginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. Of course, he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan? If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right!
Court is now back in session.
Alright.
Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted out things out with the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk.
Very well. So, will he testify?
Your Honor, the defendant will not testify.
What?
Shame. On here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor.
A different angle?
If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lamore.
Lamore?
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lamore's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lamore was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries.
What happened?
She was assaulted, Your Honor.
Assaulted?
Someone wanted Lamore dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself.
What?
I've heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lamore? Can you think of a reason?
Well,
Think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been?
You don't think...
I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So I am to understand that this is what you were saying. Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lamore's testimony. A nugget that we have yet to uncover? Exactly.
If Lamore was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lamore's testimony once more.
Lamore, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again on speak. Okay. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Curson, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof.
You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice.
I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know.
And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be kind as to testify once more to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. I was on my way in from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. That was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window.
Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony.
I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way, yet everything I have said here is the truth. And it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lamore was attacked because of this testimony. What? Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better than when I don't try to think ahead.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness?
Let me go over here. Statement number 2. Darian Crescend. I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that it's impossible? There is no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try? What were they talking about? Lamore, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I've given it much reflection, but I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it. The clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Darian Consent. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch. Now. Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche? I thought it quite strange myself afterward. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? Sure. I'd be delighted. It's, very, very vital. Maybe we could then add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? You don't think. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh? Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called ein switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene, but it just so happens I have a switch right here.
It certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it?
The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage.
The stage?
Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there, on the stage.
Are you claiming that the voice Lamar heard was of someone commanding another to press this switch?
It's a possibility. Oh, Forehead, I call that an impossibility. Why? It's only necessary for me to remind the courtroom, the court of the court of the layout of the concert room. This stage is quite far from Lamore's dressing room. Not to mention that the governors were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted or not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So to have Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry. But he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? Excuse me? You heard what I said. Or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh, wait! You like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room. This little thing. Prosecutor Gavin? Perhaps you're familiar with this? Why that's...
What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking?
This is a type of transmitter, a communications device.
Communications device?
From what I've heard that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually. Therefore, talking between band members. We all had one on. So when you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. True, but wait. Those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lamore said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be...
So when Lamar heard in the shooter's voice, He could have been talking to someone on stage.
Huh. You're claiming this is this switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at this time? It could have been placed in pocket and on carried in anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said, press the switch? Well, I guess we don't.
An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it.
Ugh. I was sure this wasn't the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion and ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about the switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used in that day. Think of what happened.
Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning the switch, Your Honor? Mr. Justice?
I've been remiss in not telling this court this before. I know what this switch is.
Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what the switch is?
Okay. This is it. Prosecutor Gammon, you remember this? That's that.
That what? Is it another one of those niggle-fangled phones?
This is an igniter. What phone looks like this?
Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter?
Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is on remote? I am. This is the remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you.
Yo, Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom.
Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I expected.
If my whiskers had caught on fire...
Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance.
Wasn't that part of the stage show, though?
Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned, and the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Virginia from Lemoore. He said the sound was amazing, Before it burned it, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. A forehead? Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. There's been the shooter's voice heard by Lamore on the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter was at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire.
Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it.
Really? It seems pretty simple to me. A forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong.
What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin?
His simple story simply makes no sense. Think! That night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. That's right. Of course. The guitar caught fire during a Lamore song. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated.
Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty.
See, his story makes no sense. Are you sure about that?
What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice?
Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far.
What premise is this specifically?
I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. What's this? But Detective Emma Sky heard in shots and found a body. All of this happened in the third act. Gunshots ring out. And according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us in his testimony, namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane! Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote-triggered igniter was hid inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballet performance, the second act. What? Order! 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 But that goes against the evidence! What does, Your Honor? This
crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes?
Hey, he's right, look!
The bullet is supposed to come after the fire.
You're thinking about it the wrong way.
Huh?
Look. Why would a shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it.
Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason.
Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose?
Reversed, Prosecutor Gavin?
If the criminal followed in the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet, Airford has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came off not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way.
Order! 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 That would explain this most unusual situation.
It does.
The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You're giving us some reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic, for it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, ein contradiction, forehead. One I pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lamore have heard ein voice through it? Oh, I knew that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're bashing your entire line of reasoning on ein false premise. Right. Lamore's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying, press the switch. And near the crime scene, we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was immediately investigated immediately after the crime, That window was closed. Could you tell us how Lamore heard the voice?
A key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court?
Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove, and one thing only. Lamore heard a voice, and she heard it during the sinking set. Think, how was Lamore able to hear the voice? When we investigated a scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either. Meaning, it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. It's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Virginian too. As I was saying, Lamora could not hear the voice through that window. So there can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely.
What's this?
You do amuse me so. And here I thought you on the good sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you on good sense speak in two entirely different languages. So I interpreted for you, Forehead. Lamore clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. And there is only one small window on the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim Lamore heard a voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Lamore heard the voice from here. Okay, I don't know if it's accurate, but I tried, man. Oh, never mind. How about here? This is where Lamore heard that voice from.
But that's no small window. That's the air vent.
What did she tell us? She said she's a Virginian unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch when managing she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous into ludicrous. So Lamore was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Forehead. Okay, what about it isn't logical? It hardly merits saying. Why would Lamore be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her, of course. Explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lamore? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed, but why should that mean I could not hear through it? I fear the prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Ugh. The problem here is words. Lamore, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What? Order! Order! I will have order! Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you in fact saying that you were up above in the ceiling of the room and that's where you heard the moment of the crime? Yes, in fact I was. I am sorry. I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure I can't. May I remind you this is a murder trial? We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please. Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Oh boy. The fourth one. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I'm bound to secrecy on this matter. Bound to secrecy? In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance, so that did happen during the second set. I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard. But yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for, your forehead. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. Number 4. And is this not the one? It is. Lamore, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. It wraps itself around me. And now through the air I fly. Whoa, whoa. Burning on in my heart fire. Burn my love away, away. Like a bullet of love fire. Take my life away. Away. Guitar, guitar. Up together to the sky. As we can see, Lamore was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. So it saddens me to be so realistic. Lamore is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone in teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from you, and during that time she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo! What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer. I'm not supposed to be nice.
This is all very fascinating, but how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Calvin?
This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed.
Uh-huh.
He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage through the backstage to the rear of the forum. Recall Lamore's testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lamore knew of this because of her part in the illusion, but she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know if I open an event, I can leave stage and backstage. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course, yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lemore to secrecy. Well, Lemore, I am impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you.
So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling?
I did.
Well, that's that, but I'm still a little confused.
Why is that, Your Honor?
As I said before, there was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds? Tops! How could she do it so fast? Especially if he stopped to hear the shooter's voice.
That's a good question.
Can the witness explain this to the court?
I cannot.
Very well, Mr. Justice.
Yes?
It's all up to you. Do your thing.
What thing, Your Honor?
You need to explain how Lemore was able to teleport like she did, or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater.
Ugh. Why do I get picked on? It's Lemore who isn't going along with the program here. As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail.
Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her.
Yes, if you would, please.
Right.
I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice.
2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens!
I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something.
As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice.
Right, Your Honor. All I had to do is find in the contradiction between what Lemore is saying, and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I am a magician after all.
Well, tell me.
Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on.
Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here.
Okay. Statement number 4.
Two minutes.
Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running.
Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling?
Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me.
Ah, that's true. But...
So
you're saying that on the night of the concert, you made the trip in 2 minutes?
Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. Lamore disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer's right there in that video.
Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us. Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony?
Evidence explaining the discrepancy? I'll do it. There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between video and testimony. Lamore, do you happen to remember this brooch?
The brooch! We saw that yesterday, did we not?
It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now? Why? I thought we had already determined that when that was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look in the video. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch.
So she is.
Let's look a bit later.
What? The brooch! It's gone!
What? Yes. The brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds, and it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. The Lamore we see before the vanishing act and the Lamore we see after are two different people.
What?
The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lamore, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage at the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did.
Order! Prosecutor Kevin!
From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Judge. I, of course, knew about it.
What?
Don't get me wrong. I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch on the shooting took place at the same time. So I was right? There was a switch? It was. Just before the stage's towerless, Lamore was replaced.
While we're on the subject, who was this replacement Lamore?
Why, the man behind the illusion? Valid Gremory. It was Gremory. That's quite the illusion. But I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage. That's right. But this fake Lemore is still singing. And she's pretty good. It's true.
It's true.
Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The governor's on some kind of air guitar band, Fräulein. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? When we play ein show live, we play live. No recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lemore? Very well.
Yes, do tell, and add it to your testimony.
I had to keep singing, even while I moved. Oh. You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for our recordings, so I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing whenever, everywhere I go? It's the same darkness.
But if you were singing while you were walking...
That's right. One day shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all. That is right. Are you sure? You'd have to be pretty hard of hearing someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. That's for monitoring the stage from this room. Monitoring? It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones, useful for knowing when your set is coming up. Satisfied, that dressing room was fitted with a large speakers playing a direct feed from the stage, at my request actually. So Lemore singing in the ceiling sounded just like Lemore singing over the speaker.
Ingenious! Her voice was hidden by her voice.
Lemore, I have just remembered something.
Do tell.
When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing.
What?
I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped? Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead, that mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing, huh? The machine, Apollo, the one that breaks music into tracks. Oh, this, I'd completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen. Sugar, sugar. Oh, that night in your embrace. When you stole away the keys, my heart held on
into some tight.
Pleasure. What a fleeting melody. The song does stop there.
It does? I must have missed it.
Look at the lyrics sheet at the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again.
When you stole away the keys, my heart held on to so tight. Pleasure, but a fleeting melody.
This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake.
The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lamore's ballad.
If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter.
Which means that Darian Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Garvin, fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains.
What's that, Prosecutor Gavin?
Your forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lamore's testimony.
Yes, is there a problem with that?
Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear, until we hear directly from the man himself.
The man you don't mean?
Yes, though he is a friend and board member, Darian Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way.
As someone with a new perspective on the case?
As I suspect, to be frank. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole, and I'm ready to catch him. Darian Crescent, get ready for justice!
This is as good as a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness, have him here and ready by the time we begin.
I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are.
Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess.
And this is a good enough time as any to stop for the day. tomorrow I'll get going with the last part of this trial here. I thought I could finish today, but it's longer than I have ever anticipated, really. So, we'll stop things here. But, might as well take the time to rate this person here who is playing what? Cloud Obscure Expedition 3. Anyway, I've been Iron Heady, and I'll see you in compadres for more Apollo Justice Ace Attorney tomorrow. Keep on kicking now.